From Washington, the McLaughlin Group, the American original. For over 2 decades, the sharpest minds, best sources, hardest talk. The McLaughlin Group is brought to you in part by Grant Thornton, dedicated to serving clients worldwide with a singular passion for the business of accounting. And by SAP, software for great companies, not just great big companies. Learn more at sap.com/midsize.
Issue 1, did you say money?
The stimulus package will put money in the hands of hardworking Americans.
I firmly believe we're going to continue to lead the world.
A $150 billion economic stimulus package materialized from Congress and the White House this week. It will put checks in the mail this spring. Income taxpayers, individuals, $600. Joint filer couples, $1,200. Non-income taxpayers, individuals, $300. Joint filer couples, $600. This announcement on Thursday comes on the heels of an emergency move Tuesday by the Federal Reserve to cut a key lending rate by 75 basis points, 0.75%, the biggest cut in almost a quarter of a century. The hope is that this infusion of cash will avert a recession. Question, how big a bang for the buck will we get from this stimulus package? Pat Buchanan.
John, it's 1% of gross national product, but look, these aren't rebates. Nobody on this panel is going to get one of those rebates, and we all pay taxes. What this is the United States government is in deficit. We are in a huge debt. It's going to go out and it's going to borrow all this money, you know, this $150 billion, and it's going to parcel it out to all sorts of folks. It's going to increase the deficit. It's going to weaken the dollar, and the folks are going to go out and buy some goods. We're borrowing it from China, and they'll be buying a lot of goods that are made in China. I think it may perk up the economy a little bit, but this is Keynesian economics if it's not socialist economics.
Hello.
This is not about giving money to people on this panel. It's about giving money to people at the lower end of the income scale who will spend the money and give the economy the boost that it needs. And it's more about psychological balance. It's really more symbolic than it is real. But it's important because the panic was starting to spread from Wall Street to Main Street or vice versa. And it was also important for this government to show that it can function in this crazily charged political environment. And it also shows that it functions best when there's compromise. And the problem with the Bush years is he has taken the approach that if it's his way or the highway. And I think the fact that these people could work together finally, at least for the moment, is important.
Well, they're working together. A big part of it is psychology, but they're all working together because they have no choice, because the economy and the problems in the economy now are ingrained. They're leading the headlines. Voters are talking about it nonstop. It's replaced Iraq as the #1 issue. So, of course, politicians have to look like they're trying to do something. You mentioned the tax rebates. Look, it's a gimmick. Now, it doesn't mean that the gimmick won't work. The problem is the last time that we gave tax rebates out for individuals and couples was the summer of 2001, and what most people did was save it, or they put it to paying down their own personal debt, meaning they didn't inject it into the economy in terms of consumer spending the way we expected the last time. So I'm not quite so sure that it's going to work this time. The package also has a lot of tax incentives for businesses and small businesses, which is always a good idea, but to me this seems like too little, too late.
How important is consumer spending to the recovery of the economy?
Well, consumer spending is the most powerful force in the economy, but the question is, will this help consumer spending? And I agree with what Monica said. It's not going to have very much of an impact on the consumer, in part because the checks will not be distributed until well into the year, just because of the nature of it, and the part that is going to be devoted to giving accelerated depreciation to business, which is about $50 billion, about a third of it, will also not really affect the economy, because in fact the economy is not short of capacity, it's short of demand, and particularly industrial demand. What is involved now is something that neither the federal government nor the Federal Reserve really can do that much about, which is the inability of the financial system to provide loans, especially to the small and medium-sized businesses, to which a lot of this money is directed.
Okay, the troubled economy. Which candidate can best deal with it? The vote in the Florida primary this Tuesday and the nomination itself may well hinge on the answer to that question. Which candidate can best deal with the slowdown?
I've done business around the world, 20 different countries. I've worked in and negotiated in some cases in some of those countries, and I understand what it takes to grow and strengthen an economy.
Question, is Romney the best equipped Republican contender to handle economic problems that are now facing the country? I ask you, Eleanor.
Well, I think if you accept the fact that the two leading contenders on the Republican side are Mitt Romney and John McCain, Mitt Romney knows a lot more about the economy. It's sort of in his DNA. Of course, he's a merger and takeover artist, and he cares more about the corporate structure than he does about the workers, and that may hurt if he doesn't adopt a message that can relate to the Main Street voter. John McCain, when he gives an economic speech, he talks about the bridge to nowhere, and he talks about
John
controlling
McCain
earmarks.
was chairman of the Commerce Committee.
Yeah, but he's really more about national security. I think he'd make a better Secretary of Defense, frankly, than somebody.
Is Romney stronger than Giuliani?
Yes.
Is Romney stronger than Huckabee?
Yes.
Okay, let's open the lens on Mitt.
Governor Romney, as has become apparent over the last few weeks, if Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee, she'll be running as a team with her husband. Specifically, how would you run against Hillary and Bill Clinton in November?
I frankly can't wait, because the idea of Bill Clinton back in the White House with nothing to do is something I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the American people can imagine. And
what does that mean?
I just think that we want to have a president, not a team of husband and wife thinking that they're going to run the country. If Hillary Clinton is the nominee, it's going to be Hillary Clinton. I said before, Washington is broken. She is Washington to the core. Washington has made promises to us over the last decade that they just haven't been able to fulfill. You can go down the list. They said they'd solve the problem of Social Security. They haven't. They said they'd rein in spending. Somehow every year more and more and more money goes in. They said they'd live by high ethics. They haven't. They said they'd solve the problem of illegal immigration. They haven't. They said they'd get us off of foreign oil. They haven't.
Question, what is Romney trying to accomplish by his Washington is broken emphasis? Monica.
Well, let's see. Ronald Reagan in 1980, Bill Clinton in 92, George W. Bush in 2000, running as an outsider. Outsiders win, especially now, for all of the reasons that Romney just laid out in that clip. And he is he's already running a general election campaign against the junior senator from New York.
But that role has been taken. It's been taken by Obama, has it not?
It's gone.
Is he stealing it?
John, it is gone. Mitt Romney is very, that was one of the most, first the wit was Reaganite, secondly the move against Washington, against the establishment was perfect. Romney has gone to Michigan, saw the economic issue, pivoted completely, saw Obama being sort of taken down. He has grabbed the outsider, anti-Washington, both parties are responsible. It needs fixing.
Is he on the issue now?
He owns it because Obama's going to get defeated. Obama's going to be defeated, and he owns the issue in the Republican Party.
Is he tailor-made for the
He is, because McCain is the ultimate insider.
He's tailor-made only if we don't look at the lining, okay? This guy was the governor of Massachusetts. The growth
Here
of
we go again.
Just a minute. Well, when he was handling a public economy, which was Massachusetts, the growth of jobs in Massachusetts was 1/10 of that of the national economy while he was governor. He then says, as he says here, that he's worried about whether Washington didn't deal with the dependency on foreign oil. When he goes to Michigan, he opposes whatever efforts the Bush administration did to reduce fuel consumption. I'm just trying to tell the truth about
your
this guy.
exasperation.
He has totally misrepresented what he did. He's changed everything now that he's running for national office.
He has more moves than a circus contortionist. He has adjusted himself to whatever the message of the day is. Now, maybe this is more his real self, because he does seem to understand business. But when it comes to authenticity, this guy is the candidate in the Robert Redford film.
Mort's exasperation and rage tells me it is working. It is working because the liberals and the others are up the wall over Romney because they see what he's doing. It's very effective, and I agree it's a new incarnate.
Look at you. Your face looks so calm. Pat, what are you talking about? What I don't like about him, frankly, and I don't like him, is because he's a total phony. He says he has one whole set of positions in Massachusetts. Now he's running for national office. He changes everything. He moves to the right.
Romney is running on his strength as an economic turnaround guy. Look, there are two other executives in this race. Two other executives in this race, Giuliani and Huckabee. Romney is the only one who has experience in the private sector and very successfully. And when he was governor of Massachusetts, he lowered taxes 19 times, he balanced the state budget 4 times, and he ended up with a $2 billion state surplus as a rainy day fund.
I get the feeling you guys have your candidate, am I right?
The candidate, but look, that is...
What is the problem here? He's a billionaire, and
look,
Romney is a paltry $250 million.
If he's the nominee,
I don't hold this poverty against him. I promise you, John. That's not the issue.
Exit question: does the current and projected state of the economy guarantee that this election will be about the economy and not the war? Pat Buchanan.
Very probably the economy is going to be the #1 issue, frankly, because I think it's going downhill. Yeah. But that, frankly, will favor the Democratic Party. But there's no doubt the best guy the Republicans have on the issue is Romney.
Who's the Democrat who can take over the Romney clothing that he's
nobody? Hillary. See, the good thing for Romney is Hillary's going to be nominated, and she and Bill are the ultimate insiders.
Yeah, but as he said, he's pointed out in his own address, Hillary is characteristically and fundamentally Washington.
Sure.
And Washington is broken.
Exactly, and he's outside.
Well, and Hillary Clinton does present solutions, and a lot of the worry about the economy has to do with health care. And I think Hillary Clinton, despite her past on that issue, is considered to be somebody who could actually turn it around.
You think
she's
Hillary
a turnaround
can
artist.
take the issue away from Romney?
No, I don't think she's equipped to take the issue away from Romney. He is the candidate on the economy. He's finally wised up to it, and he centered his campaign around it. Barring some sort of foreign policy catastrophe or a terrorist attack against the United States, the economy will be the #1 issue, and that's why Romney now is so well positioned to not just take the nomination, but win in November.
How do you account for Mark Zuckerman's vitriol against Romney?
He's nervous.
Nervous?
Ask him.
Well, and
he's worried about it.
How do you account for the polls? How do you account for the polls that all show Romney being defeated by 12 points by either of the Democratic polls?
Listen, you want to come out as an underdog.
Oh, I see. Okay, he's the underdog. I got it.
Look, Romney does have very good private business experience. Giuliani, I might say to you, did a very good job with the economy of the city of New York. I'm not saying he can do it nationally, but he did a good job, so let's give him his proper due. If there is one possible candidate who really does understand the economy in national terms, it is a guy who has not yet announced, and I hope he will, and that, of course, is the mayor of New York, Mike Bloomberg.
Romney also has executive experience. He was governor of Massachusetts.
Yes, he was not the greatest governor
of Massachusetts. He was also president of that company, wasn't he?
Bain and Company.
Bain and Company?
And he did a very good job with Bain and Company, I can tell you that.
Now, don't overdo it here.
No, I'm trying. I want to be fair to him. What I don't like about him is that I don't think he has any...
You don't like him because you call him a fraud?
No, yeah, because he has no political integrity.
Well, the answer is it's Romney's, and Romney will keep this issue. When we come back, the sleaze factor.
At Grant Thornton, what they do for their clients, their expertise, and their partner involvement has made them one of the largest accounting organizations in the world, with a network of member firms in 110 countries, proving that when people really love what they do, they seem to want to keep doing it.
Good evening, Grant Thornton.
Grant Thornton, a passion for the business of accounting.
SAP has solutions for mid-sized companies? I'm gonna need some time to come to terms with this whole thing. Okay, I'm good.
Issue 2, hot rage.
Let's talk about Ronald Reagan. What you just repeated here today is patent. Wait, no, Hillary, you just spoke.
I did not say anything about Ronald Reagan. You said two things. You talked about admiring Ronald Reagan, and you talked about the ideas of the Republicans. I didn't talk about Ronald Reagan.
We just had the tape. You just said that I complimented the Republican ideas. That is not true. What I said, and I will provide you with the quote. What I said is that Ronald Reagan was a transformative political figure because he was able to get Democrats to vote against their economic interests to form a majority to push through their agenda, an agenda that I objected to. So these are the kinds of political games that we are accustomed to. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Question, did this exchange unveil a hidden side of Obama's personality? I ask you, Monica.
Well, the Clinton team fights like biker chicks at a biker bar with broken beer bottles, right? And they got you on the defensive, and the next thing you know, they've got their combat boot on your neck. Barack Obama is like Wile E. Coyote. Finally, the anvil has landed on his head, and he's woken up to the tactics of the Clinton team. And what you saw in that clip is Obama finally wising up to the fact that the Clintons play gutter politics, and unless he is willing to be as aggressive on the substantive points and actually calling her out, and him, by the way, meaning Bill, calling them out on their tactics, he's going to be sunk. It's not too late for him to set.
You think Obama appeared mean-spirited in any way in that exchange?
Actually, that reminded me of the McLaughlin group, and when I heard him say, "Let me finish," I identified with him, not with her. And I have to admit, I wanted to close my eyes and imagine Romney or Giuliani standing in Obama's place, because, look, Hillary Clinton knows how to fight, and that's the whole premise of her campaign, is that she can handle it in the fall. I think it was hard to watch, and I think Obama is beginning to find his voice in fighting back. But he doesn't want to damage his brand as a healer and a unifier. And if he gets down there in the back and forth, it hurts.
Republicans concerned about health insurance. They're concerned about the price of gasoline. They're concerned about the state of the economy, and they're talking about whether or not you're a Reaganite.
What happened is
what is that? Look, dancing on the head of a pin?
No, I think the Clintons have done a job on Obama. He came out of Iowa. He was a transcendent, transformative figure. He'd gotten all these white votes. He's running way up high, and they've gutted him and kicked him and dragged him down, and now he's fighting back, and it's very unseemly, and he's being reduced to the African-American vote in South Carolina. He's lost the women, he's lost the Hispanic, he's lost the...
Because of the evil Clinton.
Because they all got him into this ugly brawl.
I'm not going to go that far.
The way she is now fighting in this campaign is the kind of, it's an echo of the partisan politics that was associated with the Clintons while they were in office. And I think both of them were diminished as a result of it, because he went off, she forced him off the pedestal.
Why don't you focus on the weakness of his campaign, Obama's campaign?
No, I think not only I have focused on it, frankly, because I think the real problem with it is it's too ethereal. There is not enough substance in the way of policy.
Icy rage. Icy rage.
That's not true.
Obama taunted Hillary by saying that during Ronald Reagan's presidency, he, Obama, was pounding the streets in Chicago as a community organizer. At the same time, Hillary was a director on Walmart's board.
While I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas, you were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart.
That Walmart bob from Obama triggered Clinton to correct Obama, saying that she actually fought the Reagan policies while Obama was on the payroll of a low-life influence peddler.
I was fighting against those ideas when you were practicing law and representing your contributor, Resco, in his slum landlord business in inner-city Chicago.
The Resco that Hillary named is Tony Resco, a Syrian-born American restaurateur and real estate developer. Resco is regarded as a political fixer and a backroom operator. 1990. Obama, still at Harvard Law School, interviews for a job at one of Resco's development companies and declines it. 93. Obama joins the Chicago law firm that represents Resco. 95. Resco contributes $2,000 to Obama's Illinois Senate campaign. 98. Illinois Senator Obama seeks government funding for a Resco housing development. 2003. Resco foots the bill for a $1,000 a head kickoff cocktail reception for Obama's U.S. Senate run. Obama appoints Resco to serve on his U.S. Senate Campaign Finance Committee. 04. FBI begins investigating Resco for business fraud, influence peddling, extortion, conspiracy, and money laundering. June 05, Obama executes land transaction with Resco involving an Obama $1.65 million home purchase, $300,000 under the asking price, and a purchase of land adjacency involving Mr. and Mrs. Resco. December 05, Obama purchases a piece of the adjacent lot from Mr. and Mrs. Resco for $104,000. 07, Obama divests himself of $44,000 in funds tied to Resco. January 08, 1 week ago, on the eve of the debate, Obama divests himself of an additional $40,000 in Resco-linked contribution. February 25, 08, 1 month from now, Tony Resco goes on trial on federal charges of business fraud, influence peddling, extortion, conspiracy, money laundering, with Patrick Fitzgerald as prosecutor, the same U.S. attorney who gained headlines and the conviction of Scooter Libby. Resco and Obama have had dealings for 17 years.
FYI, there is no evidence whatsoever that Barack Obama or Mrs. Obama were involved in anything illegal regarding Tony Resco. Question, is Obama tarnished by Resco? Eleanor Clift.
With all due respect, John, you're not the first person to turn over all these rocks. It's been examined by the Chicago newspapers.
Sometime.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, I think the Clintons are going to try to make this seem like Jim McDougal in Whitewater, the 2008 version of that, which was a whole lot of...
They've been on it for a year examining it.
Right. But... you know, if you want to make charges like this stick, there has to be some underlying characteristic about this candidate that makes you uneasy. I really don't think people look at Barack Obama and think corrupt. They think he's in it for the money somehow.
The public will say, why is he hanging out with this guy?
Well, and the Clintons also hung out with this guy.
John, you know,
there's actually photographic evidence of that.
Okay, she's raised a point. This photograph has emerged of the Clintons and Resco.
It is undated. I'm going to tell you right now. We know it's him. We don't know when it was taken. We think it was taken during your husband's presidency. I'm just curious, do you know anything about the picture? Do you know when it was taken? Do you remember meeting this man?
No, I don't. You know, I probably have taken hundreds of thousands of pictures, but I don't know the man. I wouldn't know him if he walked in the door. I don't have a 17-year relationship with him.
Does it make sense to use someone like this, Tony Resco, against Senator Obama when there really is no such thing as political purity anymore?
There's a big difference between standing somewhere, taking a picture with someone you don't know and haven't seen since, and having a relationship.
You know, John.
Question, has this photograph turned Hillary's bullets destined for Obama into blanks? Pat Buchanan.
No, it hasn't. Look, anybody that's been in politics know they walk people through, hundreds of them at fundraisers, and you take a photograph and move on. That's what that is. Now, this thing, he does have a connection with a sleazy character, but let me defend Obama. I have seen no hard evidence that this guy did anything criminal at all. I'm talking about Obama for this guy. He's got a guy who hangs around politics who turned out to be a very sleazy and maybe a crooked character, and I think it's tarnished Obama, and I think it's somewhat unfair, all this attention focused on that.
Yeah, and you know what? The reason that Hillary did this is because that's the only thing that they have on the guy. Barack Obama is very intelligent, skilled, class act. They got one thing, they found one guy, and so she gets panicky in the debate. She goes nuclear on Obama by dragging up the Resco guy, which is particularly rich, coming from the queen of the mother of all shady land deals, Whitewater. Okay?
Wait a minute.
What the Clintons are so good at is accusing their rivals and opponents, accusing them of exactly what they are guilty themselves of.
Are you so positive? Are you so positive
from them?
Are you so positive towards Obama because of your odium for the Clintons?
No, look, I would
Is that
not,
why you're positive towards him?
No. Look, I think that the Clintons have a rap sheet of shady donors going right up to Norman Shue as of last week. That there's some nerve on the part of the Clintons to attack Barack Obama for one guy
could be put together?
How about Mark Rich? He has apologized and given the money to charity.
Two-part exit question. Part one, will Resco's association with Obama torpedo Obama's prospects in the primaries to come? Second part, will Resco torpedo Obama's prospects long term?
No, but look, there's a tarnish, a bit of a smear on Obama But no, that's not what's going to kill him, John. What's going to kill him, what's already been done in Nevada and South Carolina, which is turn him from a candidate who happened to be black into the black candidate.
Have you forgotten something? I'm doing this for the rest of the panel so they will not embarrass themselves. We got a trial coming up. The trial could be going to be prolonged. There are many counts.
I don't know.
It's Patrick Fitzgerald.
I don't know that.
Day in
I
and
don't
day
know
out,
that Resco.
Video every night of Resco.
I don't know of a thing that Obama has done for Resco that is in any way.
I'm telling you, the trial is not going to leave a pleasant odor.
The answer is double no. Barack Obama is not on trial, and every politician in Washington has a rap sheet of donors. It's unfortunately the system that we operate under.
Well, what is going to torpedo Barack Obama is the Clinton war machine. It's not this individual Resco charge.
You mean there's more that they have on him?
Well, I mean, look at how the Clintons are playing this game. Barack Obama is trying to run a class operation, and the Clintons wouldn't know class if it hit them on the head.
It's called politics.
Could there be a counter sympathy for Obama because of what the alleged Clintons are doing?
Well, I think there is. There's been a lot of editorial comment really hostile to both Bill Clinton and Hillary for doing exactly this. And frankly, both of them end up being diminished by it. The country is just sick and tired of this kind of stuff. If you want to go back through the Clintons, you could find all kinds of material, okay, that could be brought up. I think this is an absolute non-issue.
The trial will be a non-factor.
Absolutely. He is not on trial. You know, it is really a ridiculous issue. It's just another attempt to smear. And I think both of them are.
You got to get behind Romney, Mort.
I will if I knew who he was, okay?
My feeling is
Romney should you get behind?
My feeling is Obama.
Who is he today?
Can we get out? My feeling is Obama will not be he will not be hurt permanently by the Resco matter. We'll be right back with predictions.
The McLaughlin Group is brought to you in part by CIT, Capital Redefined.
I've been hearing that SAP has business software for mid-sized companies. So naturally, I did what you'd expect. Had my hearing tested. Turns out I'm fine.
A couple of my guys said we could start small with SAP software and add on later. I love my guys.
Predictions, Pat.
Huckabee, Giuliani, Thompson will all endorse McCain.
Hello.
Barack Obama will get another red state governor endorsing him, and on Super Tuesday he will win more red states than Hillary Clinton.
Monica.
This week, the Russians launched long-range missiles into the Atlantic off the coast of France and Spain. Vladimir Putin, even though he's giving up the presidency in about 6 weeks, he will continue to stoke Cold War tensions to hold on to power.
5 seconds.
My prediction was exactly that of Pat's, except for the fact that I don't support Romney in these issues.
Before Thanksgiving this year, the U.S. unemployment rate will climb to 7%. Bye-bye.